Tonight on The Night Team. Vocal Kentucky is mourning the deaths of 5 people they consider family and are saying a Kentucky law is reinforcing a cycle of homelessness and substance abuse.
Know that they were all loved by people. They have family, community that miss them every day.
Plus, a fighter and a cancer survivor celebrated at a special U of L game. What it took for her to get here.
We don't give up. We don't give up as a family.
And later, Latin American heritage being celebrated across the metro. We'll take you there. Right now on the WHAS11 Night Team. Vocal Kentucky members and supporters are mourning the deaths of 5 people they consider family in the past 2 weeks. Thanks for joining us here a little bit late on the Night Team. I'm Alex Dieterer. 2 of these people, they say, are recent homicide victims. The Night Team's Clarice Shaley and photojournalist Connie Offit learned who these people were and how they're being remembered.
So we've lost a great deal.
Vocal Kentucky says it's been a tough month for the organization and its supporters. In the last 2 weeks, the organization says they have experienced 5 deaths of people they consider family. These people were impacted by homelessness, substance use, mental health challenges, and poverty. Now they're seen in a collection of pictures, among others who have passed.
It just brings the bigger picture of how many people we lose that are forgotten and not celebrated in the life that they did have.
Jennifer Twyman with Vocal Kentucky says they are now celebrating and remembering the lives lost, thinking of Rachel Hughes, who was found fatally shot at the Shawnee boat ramp.
The girl ain't deserve it. She was good people. She had a problem. She ain't deserve it.
And Ashley Lanham, who was killed on Labor Day not far from the organization's office. Vocal Kentucky says 2 of the 5 deaths were overdoses and another died of natural causes. Twyman says this death was failed health due to long-term substance use.
I mean, these are brothers and sisters and daughters and parents and people that have community.
Vocal Kentucky points to the state's law banning street camping, among other laws that they say have reinforced the cycle of homelessness and substance use. The law makes it a violation to camp on a public street or sidewalk and allows for a misdemeanor to be given at the second violation and each subsequent violation. It's been law for a little over a year.
It hurts to where I just want to fight harder because I fight hard for everybody now.
Sandra Scott was once homeless. Now, almost a year sober, she continues to advocate for her family still on the streets.
The road behind me is bumpy, but the road ahead of me is paved.
We bury the proof of neglect in the ground, yet their spirits still rise, their voices resound.
The group stands strong.
So I stand here a witness, I stand here and vow to honor their memory louder than now.
Still lifting their loved ones up. With photojournalist Connie Offit, Clarice Shaley, WHAS11 on your side.
State data shows within the first year of the law that makes street camping illegal, about 425 charges have been placed over 30 counties. In Elizabethtown, a lawsuit has finally been settled years after a Denny's sign fell and tragically killed a Kentucky couple. In January of 2023, a car with 3 people inside was crushed by a massive Denny's sign. The National Weather Service said there was 40-mile-hour winds at the time of the accident. The mother and husband died from the accident, and the couple's daughter, Mary Howard, was also injured, but she did survive. We spoke with her years ago after the accident.
And I don't know that the shock has wore off or the fact that we're going home and life's going to continue without her. I'm not angry. I don't seek revenge of any sorts. But tragedies like this can be prevented.
According to family, an officer at the scene told them the sign was old, rusted, and missing a bolt. The family filed a lawsuit in October of 2023, accusing the company of negligence. Court records show a Hardin County judge dismissed the lawsuit on September 12th after all parties reached a settlement. The details of that settlement were not disclosed. Also in Elizabethtown, Hardin County leaders are considering whether to sell nearly 200 acres of land near a landfill. Last fall, the Kentucky Heritage Land Conservation Fund submitted a proposal to purchase unused land near the Pearl Hollow landfill. In a social media post on Friday, Hardin County government explained that if sold, the land sale would bring in $500,000, saying, quote, "These funds could be directed immediately to strengthen rural fire protection, improve EMS response, and support essential county services across the board," end quote. Officials say the decision is now up to the county fiscal court. They'll decide to either keep the 193 acres under county ownership, with the county responsible for liability and upkeep, or to transfer it to the Kentucky Heritage Land Conservation Fund for permanent protection. The Hardin County Fiscal Court's next meeting is scheduled for September 23rd at 5:30 p.m. A federal judge has blocked the Trump administration U.S. Department of Agriculture from accessing personal data of Kentuckians enrolled in SNAP. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear joined the lawsuit brought by 21 attorneys generals challenging the USDA's demand that states turn over private information of SNAP beneficiaries. Beshear said, quote, "I joined this lawsuit because no Kentuckian and no American should have to worry about their confidential and personal information being shared unlawfully. Millions of Americans and more than 500,000 Kentuckians receive SNAP benefits, and their privacy rights are just as important as everyone else's," end quote. The USDA warned states in July that failing to turn over information on enrollees in the Federal Food Assistance Program, SNAP funding, would be cut. Many states feared the data would be used to aid in mass deportations. U.S. District Judge Maxine Chesney issued a temporary restraining order against the USDA on Thursday, but said a hearing would be held in October to determine whether a long-term prohibition is necessary. This week, Kentucky Republican Auditor Allison Ball released a special examination of the Kentucky Department of Medicaid Services. In the release, Auditor Ball says a specific failure on the part of DMS led to over $800 million of wasted taxpayer money. She says it's important to make sure every Medicaid dollar spent is directly benefiting Kentuckians in need of services and, quote, "not being wasted due to bureaucratic negligence," end quote. The examination says the DMS failed the steps to ensure that was not duplicating payments made by other states once a recipient moved out of Kentucky and enrolled in another state's program. This led to about $800 million worth of unnecessary payments to MCOs across 4 years from January 2019 to December of 2022. New tonight, U of L had their Cancer Awareness Game today, where U of L marching band honored cancer survivors and played songs chosen by the survivors. Senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton and I share the story of one woman from Salem, Indiana, who was told she had just months to live before seeking a second opinion and getting another shot at life. Throwing up L's and a smile that seems to never waver, Debbie Humphrey and her family take to the field for a special U of L game. But it took a lot of fighting for her to get here.
I was fighting not just for them, but I was fighting for myself. I knew my story was not over and God wasn't finished with me.
Humphrey was diagnosed with a rare aggressive form of lymphoma in 2018.
So I started out with aggressive chemo treatments, and I did that for several months. I had to have 48 blood transfusions.
Humphrey was told she was not a candidate for a bone marrow transplant, the one thing that could save her life. She was told to resort to palliative care with only months left to live.
They were saying between 8 to 18 months.
That is, until she went to the University of Louisville Hospital Brown Cancer Center and met Dr. Mohammed Hijazi.
He did the research, we formed a plan, and he put me on a brand new FDA-approved chemo called Ramodemsin, and that was in March. And by August, I was in remission, and then I was set up to go through the program for the bone marrow transplant. And U of L, Brown Cancer, you will not get a better second opinion, people who care.
Therapies that didn't exist are now being used in the very front line and offering patients better chance at cure and a hope for a long life after the diagnosis of cancer.
Now, Humphrey has lived a cancer-free life for 5 years.
And it's faith over fear.
She was honored by the U of L marching band at the Cancer Awareness Game, where they played her anthem, Roar, by Katy Perry. Standing tall right next to her husband and her brother, who ended up being her bone marrow donor. Debbie celebrated 5 years of being cancer-free in February.
35, 4, get your pose, face, everything. Good, hold it, look at the camera, change.
It's a day to get girls interested in a male-dominated world, which is aviation. And what better place to start their love of flying than at Bowman Field, where they had a flight simulator for students. Girls spent the day learning about piloting, aviation, mechanics, and management.
Well, it's a very underutilized field for women. It's male-dominated field. At least pilots, ATC, mechanics, all of those different aviation fields. So we're just trying to raise awareness to let the girls know that they can grow up and do this job someday, and that it's available for anyone to do it.
Today was the 7th annual event, and more than 300 girls, along with their families, were there. Well, we now have a live look of our Tri-Mart cameras showing a very full fairgrounds parking lot and everyone making the mass move out from the fairgrounds. Yesterday, LMPD did share that the parking at the Kentucky Fairgrounds for Louder Than Life had fully reached its maximum capacity for cars just after 4 yesterday afternoon. But people were able to still enter and walk into the Louder Than Life festival, but the main gates were closed to cars, allowing only shuttles in, and tomorrow is Louder Than Life's last day. But there is some good news for people attending Louder Than Life. TARC and Park are teaming up once again this weekend, offering transportation services to and from the festival. So for just $15, you can park downtown at the Park Garage and take bus number 2 at 1st and Liberty Street, straight to Louder Than Life. From the festival, you'll then take bus 2 again near Gate 4 at Crittenden Drive. That's right across from the Arby's to get back downtown. Rides are about 25 minutes each way, and buses run until midnight. Two-time rider Grant McPherson tells us how easy the service is to use.
Yesterday it was super nice. We just came down, we got a hotel nearby, and we just walked down, hop on the bus. Luckily yesterday we left a little bit later, so it was very empty and very nice.
And you still have another day to take advantage of this. We have a link to buy passes on our website. You can just look for it under the links mentioned during Newscast Story tab on the homepage.